It's Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
You see, when you hear that bell, it is on. It is time for Uncanceled. Was that the civility bell?
Yes, I love the civility bell.
Civility bell. I just touch it and it does that? I bump Pete's screen every now and then when I come in here, and some noises go off. That's all I can tell you. I put my laptop right in front of his big screen here with all his drop-ins and stuff, and sometimes I bump them. That is on me, but it's the start of a new week, so you'll have to give me just a little bit of leeway to get settled in this week at Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. It's great to have you with us today. We're going to talk a little bit later about the stock market and how stupid it is. Yeah, there you go. Mayor Q had a live stream over the weekend where he fielded questions from constituents, and one of the questions was, is Kansas City going to lose the Chiefs and the Royals to Kansas? We'll give you that answer and tell you what he said. We will also talk a little bit about fading race baiting in America. It's fading. Race baiting is fading in America. We'll get into all that. And, of course, we'll check in with Mark Van Parlay at the end of the show where we'll talk a little Charles Barkley. Got some Charles Barkley news for you there, Mark. We know you love that one. We begin this week's shows and today with something that the monologue today is born from my experience over the weekend, not necessarily yours. And it's not about me or my career or my job or whatever it is that I do, but it's born from that. So Sundays are a big day, and I'm sure Pete would tell you the same thing. When Sunday afternoon rolls around, you start getting the, I don't know what you call them, the zoomies or something about Monday. You start getting all wound up about, okay, here comes Monday. I've taken a day and a half. I've decompressed, and maybe I've watched some sports, but I haven't followed the news all that closely. I've not been on social media. I've not been following things on X. So you get a little separated from your profession as you would in any career, and Monday, whatever lies ahead Monday. So I do that this weekend, and then I go to try to figure out yesterday about 6 o'clock. We've had dinner. We did Mother's Day. We had a wonderful day. And it's time to start gathering up the facts for the podcast, which I do before this show every morning. Kevin Keatsman Has Issues I do every morning. It's up anytime you want to listen to it. You ever want to go to listen to the podcast? If you're not getting enough right here on KCMO Talk Radio, you can always listen to my podcast. And then I do that, and then I get ready for the radio show. And what I found was it's getting more and more difficult to find information on Sunday night. And the problem is the weekend has produced as much news in 2 days, maybe, as most presidents produce in a month. And Trump did that again this weekend. And it was almost a 3-day news cycle when you factor in Friday. So we'll go into detail on a couple of these things later as the week unfolds. We got to deal with China. We have an executive order in pharmaceuticals that could lower our costs by 75% on medicine that we take. We have Eden Alexander, the last American in Gaza, being released in about an hour. He's being released. We have Trump getting a free jet from Qatar. We have Macron and Mertz on a train blowing up social media, what looks like they're trying to cover up drug usage, which we can't verify, and nobody really knows, and France says didn't happen, and major news outlets aren't reporting. But it doesn't matter. I'm fixated on all this stuff, trying to get ready for Monday, and there's no news anywhere. Every show that's on television is pre-recorded. CNN runs documentaries. Fox News has shows with Trey Gowdy or whatever that are recorded on Friday. Those people aren't working on Sunday night. They record that thing early. They're all generic interviews, and they're about topics that the news moves so fast in America that they're now boring topics. You're like, I don't want to watch this and see this. So you go to X and you start following feeds. And most of the people that are very active on X also take the weekend off or power down. A few people don't. So some things are trickling out and some videos will go viral and whatnot. But it just occurred to me this weekend, and it should have occurred to me many weeks ago, that the biggest shortcoming we have right now is the media cannot. We just went from a president that we can't wake up to practice for a debate. Literally, that happened. He was sleeping. They said, don't wake him up. Let him sleep. We'll practice when he wakes up. It was time to practice for a debate. We can't wake up Joe Biden. Let him sleep. We literally went from that president to one that the media cannot keep up with. Now, this is people at the top making poor decisions. They need to start staffing Saturday and Sunday like any other day. The news cycle doesn't begin Monday morning at 7 a.m. Now, Trump had a heck of a news conference that just concluded. You heard part of it right here on KCMO Talk Radio. And he announced this unbelievable health care executive order which is going to be written into law in the big, beautiful bill. And he's challenging Democrats to vote against it. We dare you to vote against this pharmaceutical executive order and law that we will put in the big, beautiful bill. It will say, by favored nation status, the United States will pay for your drug that you make in another country. This isn't tariffs. This is we will pay for a drug made in your country or by a foreign country, the lowest price offered to any other country, or we won't have it here. We'll manufacture it here. We'll find a way. We'll do whatever. But if you want us to buy it, it's got to be the price that the best country gets. So it isn't by design, it will lower our prices. What it's really designed to do is raise the prices in other countries. Because the other countries are the ones who've been screwing us over, not just the people that make the drug. Let's say it's, is Pfizer German? What's the big Bayer's German? He pointed out Germany a couple of times today. So a lot of this stuff's made in Germany. And, England is getting cancer drugs. He gave an example of breast cancer drug for 10% of what it costs in America. We're paying 10 times as much for a breast cancer drug here as England does. Well, England's going to have to go up to 30, and we're going to go from 10 down to 3. So we're going to meet somewhere and have the same prices. That's fair. That's right. We shouldn't be supplementing and providing all the profits. RFK Jr. said we're 4% of the world's population, but 75% of the drug industry's purchases by dollar amount. That's because our prices are so high. So the whole thing's insane. So he goes through and he does this thing today, and it waits until Monday, and some of it was leaking out on Sunday night, but you couldn't figure out any details. We didn't know much about Scott Bessent in China and the deal that they'd worked there. We heard that this Eden Alexander was going to be released. We heard that maybe Trump's getting a jet, maybe not. The Qataris are saying, no, we're not really doing that. But there's no media working on Sunday. So they come in today, and here's the one problem that Trump has. He goes in to do this big, beautiful health care executive order, and what do the reporters do when he opens it up to their questions? All they ask him about is the free airplane he's getting. That's going to overshadow everything. So you want to do the free airplane on the weekend, but you need a working media to get that story out of the way. Let people have fun with the free airplane on the weekend and have a news gaggle at Mar-a-Lago or wherever you are for the weekend, whatever it is you're doing. He's so outworking the media, it's crazy. But by the time Monday hits, there's 5 stories ready to go, 7 a.m. Monday morning when all the media show up at the White House and start covering stuff, and he has news conferences. Some of this maybe is a little bit on Trump. He could do more, I guess, with media on the weekend or schedule. You know what? Schedule some stuff. Bring them all in on Mother's Day. Like 5, 6 p.m. at the White House. They've had their time. They've had their lunch, whatever. Oh, you had a few beers today? Sorry, you can't make it in here today. I'm the president. I don't drink. So I'll be there. Let's see who shows up when I randomly call something. I think it would be fun. And I think he should jack with the network executives because he was just hammering on ABC a little while ago for continually asking questions about this free airplane he's getting from Qatar. He said there was a great golfer named Sam Snead. You may have heard of him. Well, no, nobody's heard of Sam Snead. Unless you're a golfer. Sam Snead is an old golfer. Like before Arnold Palmer old. Sam Snead played so far ago. I don't know anything about Sam Snead. Trump says he won 82 tournaments, one of the greatest golfers of all time. He said if you're playing against him or somebody's playing against him and they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next tee box. You don't ever try to tap it in. Just pick it up. When somebody gives you something free, pick it up. See a nickel on the ground, pick it up and walk away. The royal family of Qatar offers you a 747-8 series jet to use for the next 3 years while your new plane is being built, the new Air Force One. You pick it up and you walk to the next tee box. He said, we've been giving away stuff for years. We keep them safe over there. He said, we protect them, and he wants to say thank you by giving me an airplane. I'm taking it. These people are unhinged in the media. They think he's personally taking an airplane and benefiting to the tune of $700 million or whatever it's worth. It's a loaner, and I'm pretty sure when it's all over, the royal family will gift it to his museum and library, and it will be there like Reagan has an airplane. It's just so dumb, and it takes away from all of this big news that's going on. This China deal is huge. We went from 145% tariff on China down to 30. And they went from 125, I think it was, down to 10 on us. So it's a 3-to-1 ratio. That happened this weekend. And then Trump announces, China said for the first time ever, they're open for business. We can sell our stuff in China. He says we have to paper it, which means we have to Write it out. This is going to be a big, fat, giant legal document. And it's going to have to be signed. And when it is, I'll tell you right now, I have no problem even if Trump flies to China and signs it with Xi together. Or if Xi comes here. It doesn't matter either way. Or if they want to meet in Hawaii and do it. Or Japan, somewhere. It doesn't matter. I think when they get it done, and I think it's going to take a while, by the way. That's why they've got a 90-day period here to write the language in this thing. When they, quote, unquote, paper it, which is Trump's term that he says for writing a contract, and they get it signed, we're going to be in much better shape with China. The biggest part of the deal is opening China and the billion citizens over there to American products and entertainment. He was very clear about that he wants to be able to export our music, our movies, things like that. Well, that's him trying to be Ronald Reagan, trying to export American exceptionalism into a communist country because it breeds freedom. We did it during the Cold War in the Soviet Union, and it worked. When people in China consume American culture, they will not stand for what they have and the government that they have. They won't. And he knows that. And Xi's fighting that. But it's always important to remember, and Trump knows this. I saw this firsthand. This is a much smaller scale. And sports fans used to hate it when I say this. If you're the general manager or the manager of a team, and this mostly is like college sports. I'm going to pick on a couple of schools right now, okay? I'm going to pick on K-State, Missouri, because they never really win anything. They may have some nice runs. They have some good things happen. They can win a conference title here or there, but the national championships aren't really happening, right? So that's all any fan wants is just, we gotta win. We gotta. You know what the athletic director and the coach want? They want their next contract. They want to stay there. They want to keep making that money. Xi Jinping, more than anything else, wants to stay in power. He's got a lot of years left of him if it didn't get overthrown. They were talking about a loss of 10 million jobs in China if they don't do some kind of a tariff deal. So this clearly worked. Where we are right now with China is way better than any place we've ever been with China, and the stock markets have reacted, which is stupid. They must have thought nothing was going to happen of any of these things. I don't understand the stock market. We'll spend some more time on that a little bit later, but we're in much better shape, and it sounds like it will get better. It will probably get better because both those numbers will come down. But the main thing is opening China for American companies to go compete. And so here's Trump on a Monday answering questions about a jet he got from the royal family of Qatar. Overshadowing that? Because serious people don't see the world like that. Wall Street isn't worried about some jet today. You see their reaction. Pharmaceutical companies aren't thinking about Trump getting a jet today. I can promise you that. Jewish people aren't thinking about that. They want Aiden Alexander home. He's a dual citizen between Israel and the United States. There's a lot of things going on in a lot of places where nobody cares about Trump taking a jet. And yet our media, which took the weekend off, lazily comes in on Monday morning and has decided, I'm going to go in and ask about the airplane. And that's all they do. We clearly need more media on the weekend covering some of these things. 913-408-7957. That's 913-408-7957. What a vibrant time to be an American. I mean, seriously, we are just watching history day after day, week after week in this Trump presidency of things that we can no longer count how many. We said, we'll never see that in our lifetime, including a pope, which out of nowhere, Martha Raddatz yesterday on ABC News had to say, oh, you know, the new pope's American. Trump had nothing to do with that. Well, he had something to do with it because you just brought it up. You brought up that he didn't have anything to do with it. Yeah, Martha, that's just a coincidence. All this stuff's happening at once. Uncanceled is on KCMO Talk Radio. We are right back. Welcome back to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. I'm Kevin Keatsman, your humble host, and we're going to the phones where, by virtue of her gender, Donna is up first from Paola. Welcome, Donna. Good morning. How are you on this Monday?
Good morning. I'm fabulous. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Hey, I was calling about what you said a little while ago about we need better media or more media on the weekend. And honestly, I have to say we just need better media, period. We need journalists that want to go out there and investigate a story, don't make up one. We need journalists who want to go out there and find out what the truth is and only post the truth, not that, let's throw a story out there to tease somebody and then, oops, I made a mistake. Do your job. You get paid enough. Stop being babies. Go out there, get off your butts, and actually investigate.
That's a great point and a great call. And here's what they did last week, Donna. This was a beauty. You may remember I talked about this last week. The New York Times published a story and supposedly made a mistake by printing Elon Musk's address in Austin, Texas. And instead of correcting it or giving an apology, which has been the journalism tradition for hundreds of years now, they have a new name. They have a new name for making a mistake. They said they've updated the story. So they print the story again without his address and don't even mention what they did. They just update the story. That's now their way of saying they've corrected something.
Yeah, well, we all know that journalism, most of them, you look at all of them, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, they're all sitting on one side of the fence. So they're only going to give the stories that they want, and they're not going to bother to apologize for anything because they don't do anything wrong. It's the Democratic way.
Just remember, whatever happens to you today, Donna, it could be worse. You could be me and have a journalism degree.
Yeah, I apologize. But, at least you're on the right side of the fence.
Well, no, it isn't that. I'm with you about the industry. They've lost their way.
Yeah.
I do believe what I was taught 40 years ago in high school and college was proper. And that was, don't take a story to a story. Go somewhere, be inquisitive, ask questions, and figure out the facts and report them. And nobody does that anymore. Nobody.
No, they don't. They just apologize or update later.
Yep. Well said. Say hi to our friends in Paola, Donna.
Will do. Thank you. Have a great one.
There you go. Got family in Paola. Awesome people. Great town. Mark got married in Paola. It's
true.
At Kevin Apier's place? Sort of.
Yeah, I think he used to own it at one
Like
point.
the community center or the town
the event center there, yeah.
It's awesome. Kevin Apier was something else, man. Here's Steven in KCK. Hi, Steven. You're on Uncanceled.
Hey, Kev, you're doing a pretty good summation of what's going on here, but I want to kind of mention, the media is just like a big old puppy dog looking for a shiny object, and that's what's happening here. We're seeing a pattern. It's the plane being donated to the Presidential Library. It's Jeanine Pirro being the attorney for Washington, D.C. The lead sketch on Saturday Night Live was not Da Pope, was not an easy layup. Da Pope, it drives the liberals crazy. And you can do anything you want. You get everything you want. You can do whatever you want. Just keep that shiny object like the plane or Jeanine Pirro out there. And no one, at the end of the day, no one really cares if Jeanine Pirro is the attorney. She's going to do what she's told. You don't have to be a legal scholar, but as long as you can hold that stuff out there, the whole first half of the View this morning was the plane. This is fantastic.
No, and you knew I knew it yesterday. I knew when I saw the plane story. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to be fixated on this. It's going to be great.
I mean, they've perfected what they've done. I think is they've perfected the media strategy. As long as we can, it's like that Mel Brooks movie. As long as we can keep coming up with a ruse. Another shiny object for them to chase after, the winning will continue unabated until the end of time.
Well said, buddy. I thank you. We're up against the break. Good call. Stephen, as always, no question. It's like the laser pointer to a cat on some of these things. It is, no question, classic stuff. We love the way that Trump is handling all that, and the jet is no big deal. It's all good. When we come back, Mayor Q's live stream about stadiums and racism fading in sports on Uncanceled. All right, so stocks are stupid. I think we'll all just agree with that. And we're all being manipulated and kind of mind-bent by people on Wall Street that do this for a living, and they totally manipulate the market, and they manipulate us. And they force weaker people, I think, to panic and sell when prices are down, which is the last thing you want to do. And then they come back in and gobble stuff up. You can't explain all this market variations of these tariffs, other than, do you really think the smartest people on Wall Street, these professional billionaires, whatever they do you really think that they don't think about anything long term? It's like, oh no, Trump's doing tariffs. We got to sell all our stocks. And then, oh, he's got a 90-day deal with China. Let's buy stocks. It's going to be great. That can't be it. Now, maybe it's retail people. Maybe it's people out there that just are wrong. I don't know. And maybe there are people that know how to short things and do things and they make money off of it, because I'm not smart enough to do that. I've bought stocks and mutual funds and whatever, and I'm holding them until I'm 72.5, and that's me. That's my choice. I'm good. We can move them around a little bit, do whatever, but I'm not getting in, getting out, trying to time anything. This is insane. It's all back. Pete pointed it out all morning. It's basically all back to where it was in January. Did people really think that nothing good was going to come out of this? I mean, how long have you known Donald Trump? It's not like the guy didn't have a track record as a president 4 years ago. So your thought was, this man doesn't know what he's doing. This is a complete and abject failure. America's going to hell, and I need to sell my stocks. That's what you were thinking. Because I'm just a simpleton. I'm just pod boy with a microphone. That's it, okay? And so I said pretty early on, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is Trump goes, it was a nice try. We'll reset everything exactly where it was. That'd be the worst thing that could happen. It would go back to exactly where it was when people freaked out. So why would you have ever sold? You could have always gone back to square one and not gained anything, but certainly not conceded anything. And we'd have been the same old stupid America we've been, getting ripped off by other countries, not collecting tariffs, having countries that are, we import all this stuff from China and we can't sell anything over there. There's no American cars in Europe. I mean, the whole thing is just a complete and utter joke that he's shining a light on. And you know what it's done? It's made our politicians and our donor class and lobbyists and special interests very, very wealthy for decades. That's all it's done. That's all it's done, and that's why it hasn't changed. Now we finally have one person in the White House with the balls to do this that cannot be bought. And they actually think he's being bought off by Qatar by getting an airplane. It's insane. Folks, he's the guy you can't buy. He took pharmaceutical money in his campaign the first time around, and he just sold them down the river. You can't buy Trump. If you could buy Trump, would he have done this with pharmaceuticals today? You know that answer. No, you cannot buy the guy. It's crazy. Stocks are stupid. Mayor Q had a live stream this weekend. It was interesting. He had like a soccer jersey on, and I think he was out on his deck or something, and he fields questions, and he streams the thing live. And he was asked the question by a constituent, are we going to lose, meaning Kansas City, Missouri, are we going to lose the Chiefs and the Royals to Kansas? And he answered no, emphatically no. And he went on to state that he's been involved in very good discussions and feels very good about all this, but wouldn't give any details. I don't want to get involved in this or that. But no, that's not going to happen. I mean, he's saying no, it's not going to happen. He didn't really give details on what is going to happen, but we've now learned from this other report, Pete talked about this morning as well, a $300 million package from the state of Missouri is proposed for the Royals in Clay County. It would be $15 million a year for 20 years to pay off bonds to help build the stadium. That would be $300 million total towards something the Royals say is going to cost $2 billion. So that's 15% of the project, right? My math right? $300 million is 15% of $2 billion. Kansas is offering 70%. I don't know. I don't know if the land's free. I don't know what Clay County can do. I don't know what the city can do. I don't know. I'm hoping the Royals do stay there. I think that'd be a great place. From the sites that I've seen, that looks like a great place for the Royals. But I don't know. But we're getting ever so close here within about a month or so of when they're both apparently telling us they're going to have an announcement or something to say, and we don't know what that is. But Mayor Q is saying no. They're going to stay in Kansas City, Missouri. Do we have the Dave Helling clip? All right, Dave Helling and I worked together for many, many, many years at Fox 4 in the 90s. We had spirited debates every weekend. He was anchoring on the weekends. I was doing the sports. Dave was a big player at Fox 4. I don't want to downplay this at all. All right, he was, if not the smartest guy in the newsroom, one of the smartest guys in the newsroom. And what he thought Fox 4 should be covering for news and the stories that he broke over years were too numerous to count. An excellent reporter. And I lost track of how many times he did stories that made Democrats look bad. He would learn something about corruption or whatever, and he would report it. There was never, that's a Democrat, I'm going the other way. He was a fairness first guy, but he was a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. And you knew that. But journalism came above that. And I think his entire career pretty much speaks to that. I have high praise for Dave Helling. I think he was an absolute pro, and nobody in this town has done more shining of the light on Democrats and corruption and things gone wrong in this community than Dave Helling, even though that was his party. He did his job first. And I never knew we'd get into debates in the newsroom, hanging out. I remember he hated the idea of casinos in Kansas City, that he thought it was going to bring crime, that they wouldn't make money, that there's no market for this. Nobody wants to do this. This is bad. It's going to bring the mob back, all these corrupt things. And I'm like, I don't think so. I've never felt safer in my life than when I'm in a casino, because you can't really commit a crime in there. They're going to catch you. You're not getting out, and you're going to be on camera. So good luck. And so that was one of the things that we disagreed on. And I don't know what that was, Republican or Democrat. We just had philosophical differences. But he said this on KCPT this weekend when talking about the World Cup coming to Kansas City. As by the way, I've been saying on my podcast for a couple of years, and since I started this show in December, you've heard me say it. Even filling in for Peter as a guest, I've said it. This World Cup thing is a ripoff for Kansas City. It's fun that we've got it, but don't expect this to be good financially or some great, tourism thing that they're promoting. And now Dave Helling is setting the stage for the tourism part to fall apart, and he's got one special reason why.
I think you're going to hear chatter, Nick, at least I'm hearing some of it already, that the demand for services will be less than Kansas City expects because of the immigration posture of the current administration. And if there's a feeling abroad that you risk your freedom or some intervention from the government if you come to Kansas City or any of the venues for the World Cup and you get in trouble and you get shipped off to some prison in El Salvador, that they're just not going to come. And I think there is low-level chatter that maybe this won't be the great boon that everyone expects, in part because we are so apparently unwelcoming to visitors.
Wow. Okay, Dave, first thing, come out of retirement, break a story about a tourist from another country in America getting deported to El Salvador in a prison. You will win every Pulitzer they have. Every journalism prize in the entire world. You might win the Nobel Peace Prize. You will win every award and prize ever if you can find one tourist in this country legally traveling here as a tourist that is sent to CCOT. Now, if you're going to tell me that they're already a convicted murderer in this country and they're not supposed to come back, then they're not here legally. We're talking about people who want to come watch soccer matches. And you're suggesting that Trump is going to round them up and send them to CCOT. Dave, I've known you forever. You are way better than this. And you parsed it. I know you're out. I know the tricks. You said, I'm hearing from some people in some circles, they're saying this. And if people abroad are thinking this, then we're not going to get what's here because of Trump. So technically, Dave isn't saying that himself. But what he's doing is, I'm hearing some people are saying this. And if people in other countries are thinking this, then they may not come here. When this doesn't work out for Kansas City, like everybody said it would, and I told you at the very beginning it was all a lie, it will never work out like they said it did. The World Cup will not. It's great that we have it. It's fun for Kansas City. All that stuff's good. Lower your expectations about how many people are coming, the economic impact, and how much money we lose, because we're going to lose a bunch. They're saying now, just this trial run of Arrowhead Stadium, ripping these seats out and putting in the temporary ones that go back and forth or whatever, just for this is $55 million. $55 million. The Chiefs are wanting to build a new stadium. They're spending $55 million to bring the World Cup for 6 matches. That's almost $10 million a match. And they're asking for public money? I mean, this is all just so nuts. This never works out financially, ever. And Dave Helling now is laying the foundation for the people who promised all this for them to be wrong. And we're going to blame Trump. His out is, I'm hearing other people say this, and other people in other countries are thinking this. So I'm just Dave Helling reporting this to you. No, Dave, you wanted to say it. You want to lay the groundwork. You want this to spread like wildfire. You want everyone in Kansas City to think that Trump is screwing over the World Cup. Well, guess what? I would have thought maybe there was a chance of that. You are 180 degrees wrong on this because Trump just keeps talking about how excited all his kids and family are that the World Cup's coming. He wants to blow it out like the Olympics. Here's what's going to happen. Watch. Kansas City's going to come up short, and Trump's going to help out. Do you watch Trump help the World Cup? Because in the grand scheme of things, it isn't that much money compared to so many other things. You watch what he does. Same thing with the Olympics. Oh, you need more security. You need the National Guard. You need transportation. You need airport. You need airplanes. Whatever it is you need. Whatever our cities need to pull off the World Cup, he's going to help. You watch. Because this presidency, this 4 years, is the golden age of America restarting. It is one man saying we're going to be patriotic, and if we have the World Cup, we're going to crush it with the World Cup. It's going to be the best. So here we've got liberals in Kansas City bad-mouthing Trump, and guess who's going to ride in on the white horse and save their ass? It's going to be Trump. You watch. Dave, I'm going to call you. Let's get you on this show. I'd love to talk about this topic with you. I think you're an awesome guy and a great reporter, but that was off the mark in many ways. Draymond Green is a basketball player for the Golden State Warriors. He's a good one. Won a bunch of titles. He's also what you would call as an athlete, a punk, a thug, malcontent. In the playoffs so far this year, Draymond Green has 5 technical fouls. But the other night in Game 3 when they lost to Minnesota, he had 2 points and 4 assists and a couple of rebounds. This is really good. There's something going on even with liberal sports reporters. Pete's mentioned this before. Sports reporters are probably more liberal than news reporters. They are. So Draymond Green gets upset that he's had all these negative stories written about him because he keeps getting in fights. He punched a teammate once. He's hit guys on the court. He's been a punk for a long time. So he goes out after they lose and is frustrated and tells the media after the game, I'm tired of them portraying me as an angry black man. This won't work. He's insinuating the country is racist. This is all about him being black and being great at what he does. And people are jealous that he's great at what he does and he's black. So you're portraying me as an angry black man. Tim McMahon of ESPN fired back saying, go away, Draymond. Shut up, dude. Just shut up. Don't play victim here. Stop doing flagrant stuff. We are sick of it. We're sick of you doing stupid stuff. Not any agenda here. You get break after break after break after break, the writer writes. Not an agenda when you punched your teammate in the face or when you put Rudy Gobert in a sleeper hold or when you smacked Yusuf Nurkic upside the head. No agenda there. It's true. This writer went on to say, he's so full of crap, his breath stinks. That's liberal ESPN on Draymond Green trying to play victim. Oh, you're portraying me being the angry black man. Not taking it anymore, man. Everything is changing because the people are speaking. Our culture is changing. The people that manipulated the culture for so long and ginned up so much of this racism and fake hate and pride hate or whatever that doesn't exist. Those same people that ginned all this stuff up realize they are outnumbered 99-1, that it just doesn't exist. And you look foolish if you jump into these narratives now. It's time to shut up on all of this stuff. Again, it's a reboot. It's a new golden age of America, and I'm proud to be part of it. And you can see it in places everywhere. When we come back, Charles Barkley on Stephen A. Smith running for president, and the Royals lose 2 out of 3. Our chat with Mark coming up next on KCMO. All right, welcome back to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. Mark, did you see this story over the weekend? They had a festival in New Jersey, and a former cheerleader, self-proclaimed cheerleader, drove through the festival. Now, it wasn't like New Orleans. Nobody was like killed or hurt or anything like that. Have you seen this video?
No, not yet.
This is unbelievable. This lady, and she was a young lady, maybe in mid-20s, some sort of cheerleader. She pulls up in her BMW, and she gets to where there's orange barrels and the police tape because there's a festival going on. They have little stands on the side. They're selling fruit baskets. I don't know what they're selling. It's a street festival. And the cop says, ma'am, you can't go past here. And she says, her window's down. He's recording the whole thing. And she says, I got to get to work. He said, well, I can call you a taxi. It was going to be hard to turn around at this point and hard for her to back up. I don't know what was going on. He goes, you can't. She gets out of the car and starts pulling the tape off the barrels and ripping it down. And he goes, no, ma'am, you can't do that. I'm gonna have to stop you. She gets in her car and she just drives right through. He chases her down the street. She finally gets blocked. And when she does, he rips the door open, grabs her out, throws her on the ground, and cuffs her. Who does that?
That's crazy. That's somebody who thinks they're above the law right there.
Golly. That was nuts. Charles Barkley, did you see his comments about Stephen A. Smith?
No.
He was asked on a podcast, can Stephen A. Smith win the presidency? And Barkley said, hell no. Come on, stop it. Stop the whole idea of Stephen A. Smith. No, man, you're starting to be, you're too much right now, Stephen. You're on General Hospital. You're on Law and Order. You're too much. No, hell no.
I like Charles Barkley.
Did you know Stephen A. Smith was acting?
I did not. That's news to me.
Do you think he's trying to do what Trump did? Just boost his celebrity. So if he's on General Hospital and Law and Order, we'll assume those are people that don't watch much ESPN.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
You think that's what this is about?
Yeah. Potentially get a wider audience, yeah.
Get your name out there in front of everyone. All right, and my mom is, happy Mother's Day to my mom yesterday. She's done with Cole Reagans, I think, which is really hard for me to say because she hates that he's called the ace. She says he's not as good as any of the other ones. I'm having a hard time arguing with her now. Yeah. What's wrong with Cole Reagans?
I mean, he didn't go on the IL. He just missed a couple starts, so maybe there's something lingering there. I was kind of wondering the same thing. He can get to about 5 innings. He still gets you about 8-9 strikeouts, but he just isn't quite what he was last year.
Does he remind you a little bit of the NFL quarterback that makes a lot of great throws, puts a lot of points on the board, but when the game's on the line, doesn't win it? Like, he strikes all these guys out.
Yeah.
But then he makes some terrible pitches that they rip into the gap or they hit a home run. I don't understand how you can be so unhittable and get that many strikeouts, but when you are hit, you get hit that hard.
He just lays it. Yeah, that's a great question. That's a good analogy too, I think. It's that guy that he has the potential to have you that give you that no-hit shutout, but then he also will get blown up for 5-6 runs.
Most great strikeout pitchers have really low ERAs and get out of innings all the time. If they get somebody on base, they just strike a couple of guys out. Reagans doesn't seem to be able to do that, and I got to think that's a concern. The bats were not great this weekend either, and it will show when they went 16-2 that they beat Baltimore, Colorado, and the White Sox.
Yeah, that's true.
It will show that. I thought the Royals just don't look as good against the better teams. Did you notice that this weekend?
Yeah, the bats just seemed like they left us again, which is not good.
They're off to Houston. That's a bandbox. They'll score some runs there, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Everybody scores in Houston. So we'll take all the strikeouts we can get. We're not giving up on the Royals here.
Nah.
They were 16-2. It's okay to lose 2 out of 3. It's a good thing they won on Friday night, though. That was one of the best games you'll ever see. 12 innings. Royals are out of town. The Cardinals are coming in this weekend against the Royals. Should be fun. Thanks for listening to Uncanceled. The Vince Show is coming up.